You ever pull up to a drive-thru, order what used to be your favorite burger, and then sit there in your car staring at this sad, lukewarm mess, wondering what happened? Yeah, me too. It's like somewhere between our childhood and now, the fast food world took a sharp turn. Prices went up, quality went down, and suddenly we're all just accepting mediocrity wrapped in greasy paper. But here's the thing. Not every chain has lost the plot. Some are still putting out burgers worth the money. Others, well, they're coasting on decades-old reputations while serving up something that barely qualifies as food. I wanted to get to the bottom of this, so I dubbed through hundreds of reviews, talked to people, and yeah, ate way too many burgers over the past month. What I found was honestly eye-opening. Let's just start with the elephant in the room, McDonald's. I know, I know. Those golden arches are tattooed on our collective childhood memories. Happy Meals, birthday parties, that weird play place with the ball pit that was definitely a health hazard. But we need to face reality here. In 2025, McDonald's is serving up burgers that look like they got into a fight and lost. The patties are these thin, greasy discs that seem to shrink every year. The cheese, stone cold, like it never even met the grill. And the whole thing is usually assembled with the care of someone throwing darts blindfolded. I read this one review where someone said the only thing worse they'd eaten was school cafeteria food. That hit hard because, honestly, they're not wrong. The wildest part is how customers have basically given up on the regular menu and started creating their own Frankenstein burgers just to make something edible. There's this whole underground thing where people take a McChicken, toss the bun, and jam it inside a double cheeseburger. When your customers have to become mad scientists just to enjoy your product, that's not a good sign. Sitting right above McDonald's is Burger King. And honestly, they might be even more frustrating. At least with McDonald's, you know what you're getting. Consistent disappointment. Burger King is like playing Russian roulette with your lunch break. One location might hand you something genuinely delicious, a Whopper that lives up to the flame-broiled hype. Then you drive to the next town over and get something that tastes like regret between two buns. I came across this perfect story that sums up the whole Burger King experience. Someone got what they called a unicorn Whopper. It was so good they almost cried. Like, legitimately emotional over a fast food burger. They went back to the exact same location 2 weeks later and got something they described as tasting like an old sock. From transcendent to trash at the same place. That's the Burger King experience in a nutshell, and it's exhausting. Wendy's lands in a similar boat, but their story is different. There's this overwhelming sense from longtime fans that things changed after Dave Thomas died back in 2002. That personal touch, that founder's pride, it started fading. Sure, they still advertise fresh, never frozen beef, but fresh meat can't save you when everything else is falling apart. People point to specific moments when the decline became obvious. Around 2013, Wendy's switched from these premium brioche-style buns to cheaper ones. Customers noticed immediately. You can't pull the wool over people's eyes when it comes to food. We might not always know exactly what changed, but we can taste when corners get cut. Now, White Castle is a whole different animal. They've been around for over a century selling these tiny steamed sliders, and they've earned their spot in American culture. But let's be real, White Castle isn't a lunch choice. It's a midnight craving, a rite of passage, something you eat at 2 a.m. when judgment is at its lowest. The burgers always look like they've been sat on, and there's this running joke that you need to clear your schedule the next day because of the, digestive consequences. It's nostalgic and iconic, sure, but nobody's out here claiming White Castle makes the best burgers in America. Things start getting interesting when we talk about Freddy's. They're relatively new to the game, founded in 2002, and they're all about the smash burger style. Instead of thick, juicy patties, they press the meat down hard on a griddle, creating these super thin, crispy edges. Some people absolutely hate this approach, but the fans? They're passionate. I saw people arguing that Freddy's beats In-N-Out, which is basically blasphemy in certain parts of the country. The thing is, Freddy's is divisive. It's not universally loved, which keeps it from climbing higher. It's like if Culver's and Steak and Shake had a baby. Good, but not great. Here's a curveball for you. Dairy Queen. Yeah, the ice cream place. When you think DQ, you're thinking blizzards and dilly bars, not burgers. But apparently, They've been quietly making some solid burgers this whole time. Their flamethrower stack burger has this cult following, mostly because of their orange sauce, supposedly a mix of Tabasco, garlic seasoning, and mayo. Simple, but effective. One person said they'd walk to China on their elbows for a jar of that sauce, which is the kind of hyperbole that actually means something. The problem with Dairy Queen is the same as Burger King. It's wildly inconsistent depending on which location you hit. Jack in the Box knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be fancy or gourmet. It's the late-night king. The place you hit when you're hungry at midnight and nothing else is open. Their Bacon Ultimate Cheeseburger is actually pretty damn good. 2 patties, bacon, sauce and American cheese. What people love about it is the balance. The bacon doesn't dominate, it actually complements the other flavors. The weird thing is that Jack in the Box's burger seems to be a hidden gem on their own menu. People go there for the tacos. And don't even think to order a burger, which is kind of tragic. Down in Texas, Whataburger is basically a religion. They've been around since 1950, and their whole philosophy was simple. Make a burger so good, you'd say, "What a burger." And make it big enough, you need 2 hands. They succeeded. What's impressive is that fans don't just love one item, they love the entire menu. The patty melt, the sweet and spicy bacon burger, all of it. There's even this cult following for a discontinued burger called the A1 Thick and Hearty that was taken off the menu back in 2009. People still mourn that burger. When customers are emotionally attached to something you stopped serving over 15 years ago, you know you did something right. Steak and Shake is a tragedy. The burger is legitimately great. Their Frisco Melt, a double patty on thick-cut buttery sourdough, has people saying they've tried to recreate it at home and can't. That's high praise. But the experience of actually getting that burger, it's a nightmare. The service is terrible. The wait times are insane. We're talking 45-minute drive-through lines for fast food. One person summed it up perfectly. It's very good for a fast food burger, but my issue is it's never fast. Great product, terrible execution. Carl's Jr. deserves credit for innovation. They created the Western Bacon Cheeseburger back in 1988, almost a decade before anyone else thought to put an onion ring on a burger. They set the standard for that whole category. The combination of barbecue sauce, bacon, cheese, and an onion ring was genius then, and it's genius now. They positioned themselves as a premium option early on, using better ingredients and charging a bit more, and it paid off. Five Guys takes a completely different approach. No signature burgers, no gimmicks, just fresh beef, fresh-cut fries, and a long list of free toppings. You build your own burger exactly how you want it. The crazy thing is, their purist fans argue you shouldn't load it up at all, because the basic burger is so good it doesn't need anything. When your product is strong enough that people actively avoid covering it up, that says something about quality. In-N-Out has a cult following that borders on religious. Anthony Bourdain called it his favorite restaurant in Los Angeles, which is saying something. Their secret is ruthless simplicity. A tiny menu executed flawlessly, every sit, taps, and dark rides. Skin presses all over the bank. Dusts, eggs, wards, and little lets warm from the grain. The consistency is almost supernatural. Even random customer photos look professional. Plus, in an era of skyrocketing prices, In-Out remains shockingly affordable. You're getting top-tier quality for bottom-tier prices, which feels almost impossible in 2025. Shake Shack represents the new school. Started as a hot dog stand in New York, now it's a gourmet burger powerhouse. Their Smoke Shack with cherry peppers and shack sauce has people calling it their favorite burger on the planet. What really sets them apart, though, the bun. That potato bun is soft, resilient, perfectly toasted. It doesn't get soggy, doesn't fall apart. Sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference. And at the top, Culver's, the Midwest chain that does everything right without making a big fuss about it. Their Butterburgers use a fresh blend of sirloin, chuck, and plate beef, restaurant quality at fast food prices. But what really wins people over is the balance and consistency. Every element works together. Nothing's overdone, nothing's missing. And perhaps most importantly in today's landscape, The service is actually friendly. Good food, served consistently well, by people who don't seem miserable. In a chaotic fast food world, sometimes that simple formula is all it takes to win.